And welcome back to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy. Just a quick reminder, this show comes in two formats. Real talk, just me and the mic, talking about what's happening in the world and how it impacts your business and life. And then success talks, where I get to interview some of the top people in their respected industry, and they share with you what has made them successful in their journey. Today is a success talk, and I'm honored and excited to welcome to the show Troy Cummings. Troy is based out of Louisville, Kentucky. He's the founder of Homeownership, and we're going to get into that today and the topic of what's the difference between a membership and a warranty. But at the end of the day, what Troy provides is coverage that is transparent for the home buyer, that whenever something arises, one of those unexpected issues that you'll find with a home after you buy it, you know you will have the protection that you need. So welcome to the show, Troy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to our discussion and adding some value. Thank you.
Troy, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know that you didn't start out with this company. Like what got you down the road to building this?
Sure. My background's actually in real estate. I actually started in early 2000, 2004, and I actually opened a real estate brokerage in 2007. And actually the same year I had my real estate brokerage, got my insurance license, and began selling insurance and real estate together for a number of years, and then started my own insurance business in 2010, and really just was out there banging out real estate, trying to, create sales, and then offering my insurance services along the way. And then in 2014, decided to get out of real estate and just focus on insurance. And then in that same year, actually, on a whim, really just started looking more into the home warranty industry, since I had those real estate contacts, about how maybe I can merge the insurance and warranty together, and really just sat down in my basement and started looking at competitors and what they offered, how it worked, and how we could provide a better service. And started the warranty business in 2014. So that background of insurance and warranty and the real estate really helped me, hone that product that has, really kind of changed the real estate world and how warranties work. And then in 2020, I actually sold my insurance business just to focus on the growth of home membership long term.
That's incredible. And I think that's a great nugget for the audience that's tuning in, is knowing that you may start here and then you end up in a totally different place, yet all that knowledge that you accumulated along the way led to you founding this new company. Would you say that's a pretty fair assessment?
Absolutely. Whenever I'm in real estate meetings, I think a lot of the realtors that I speak with, they're really surprised about how well I know the real estate transaction and what kind of questions that they're going to get from real estate clients. And it also helps whenever I'm creating or changing something within our product. I already kind of know the questions that a lot of real estate clients are going to ask, and we try to make that more present within our brochure and our marketing pieces to make that process even easier for realtors when they need to explain it to real estate clients.
That's great. And, I think what you did was you created, there's that book, Blue Water Strategy, where you kind of looked at, okay, here's all this competition over here and how it's servicing, buyers and sellers, and how it's helping agents, being able to promote that type of protection to their clients. And you kind of went over here and said, you know what, I think there's something new that I can create. Can you tell us the difference between what you're providing, which is more membership based, versus your typical home warranty?
Sure, absolutely. And really how home membership came about was I was at a AAA insurance meeting, because again, I did own an insurance business, and I already own the domain name homemembership.com. Just that's kind of I was one of those in the early 2000s. I would buy domains, and that was just a name that I'd had. And I was at the AAA insurance meeting, and I thought to myself, there's really not a AAA for your home, right? We have the AAA Auto Club for our automobiles and things of that nature, but there's really not anything like that for your home. So that's just kind of where the light bulb went off. And that's where the home membership and being able to provide that value as a whole really came in. Because in 2014, when I was in the starting the warranty business, we were under a different name called American Insurance and Real Estate Services. And we actually changed the name to Home Membership in 2017. From that AAA meeting, the light bulb kind of went off and we changed to Home Membership in 2017. And that's where the brand and the product really started to grow. And what we did is we added more membership type services. So when someone actually gets a home membership, and we actually have a free membership, so that free membership is going to come with things like our online marketplace. So let's say your customer moves into their home and maybe they didn't get a warranty, but they move in and maybe a bracket breaks on their on the refrigerator, and they really just don't know where to go because they're not going to find something like that at Home Depot. They can go in and search and do all that right on our website. So there's a lot of added member benefits that they get with home membership that comes free. And then they get additional member benefits as well with the warranty. And that's one of the biggest things that really separates us, is just that added value around that warranty protection.
So it's not just necessarily the service base, but it's also the knowledge base that you are providing for the client.
Absolutely. And I do a lot of videos constantly, about how to maintenance your home, as well as some of our staff does as well. So we always recommend people, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really want to provide that value, especially maybe for new homeowners that don't know how to keep up with things in their home maintenance and things of that nature. We really try to educate those clients, and we get a lot of feedback from our members as well. So we enjoy that process.
So I know in the home warranty world, you can purchase home warranties as a seller and home warranties as a buyer. Is that the same within your world, or is this something once you buy the home, you go and purchase the membership?
Sure, absolutely. So we kind of separate those two, where we have the real estate side of the transaction and then what we call our direct to consumer. But yes, a seller can purchase listing coverage that protects them during the listing time period, and then that's 1 year transferable to the buyer. Or the buyer can purchase it on their side as part of the real estate transaction as well, which is fairly common, in the industry, as far as being able to buy the listing coverage and the buyer coverage. And typically that, as you know, that amount would just go on the settlement statement, either the seller's paying for it or the buyer. But we also have our direct to consumer coverage, to where let's say maybe, especially in a multi-offer situation in the climate we're in now, is that they don't really want to ask the seller to purchase it, and the buyer maybe doesn't want to put it on the settlement statement. We actually allow our members, especially on real estate transactions, to sign up within 30 days after the closing, and we'll allow them to pay monthly for their membership. And that helps really break up that cost, because warranties range anywhere from $500 to $600. It really breaks that cost up for them, especially if they're a first-time buyer. They're not hit with that cost all at once, and they can sign up on our website for that.
I'd imagine that also help too in the negotiations. Sometimes it gets down to that $500, $600, $700 fee, and to avoid the contention that might be around that, being able to handle it outside of the transaction.
Absolutely. And we've really seen in our business, and especially the multi-offer climate, like I mentioned, it's really hard if that buyer wants the home and there's 5 or 6 offers coming in on it. The buyer's agent is going to say, hey, we're going to try to keep your offer as clean as possible, so we can get this property for you if you really want it. And I get it, but not every situation lends itself to that. But we did see that more, especially over the last year or so. And we still see that some now.
Yeah, I think that especially having that background in insurance, I think this is an interesting question, and something the audience would probably love to hear is share an example or a story where somebody had the coverage and it saved them a great deal of money.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'd like to bring up a story actually on a closing the other day that we actually had a new home buyer come in, and they had just closed on their property. And they had 3 things go out literally right after they moved in. And the way our coverage works is typically, if it's with a national home warranty company, they're paying that deductible on each coverage class. So whether it's plumbing, HVAC, appliances, they're paying maybe, let's say, $100 deductible on each coverage class. Where with us, we don't charge a deductible until you actually have your claim resolved and you submit it. We just take that deductible right off the bat. So that's able to save the customer right up front $300, in possible fees. But this particular customer literally had three things go out right when they moved in, and it was actually over $1,800 of items that went out, and they simply just submitted their invoice that came over to our account manager, and that's how our process works. And once they got that invoice, we reviewed it and met all the things we needed. We simply reimbursed that client of $1,800 of repairs, and that was within 3 weeks of moving into that home.
And did you say that was new construction?
No, that was not
Okay.
new construction. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, and I think that is important though. There's a lot of agents that are out there like, well, they got the builder warranty, and they're going to be taken care of. Do you recommend that people that move into new construction consider something like home membership?
Sure, absolutely. I think the biggest thing with new construction is a lot of the appliances and things that are installed, especially the HVAC system, they are going to come with some type of manufacturer warranty. But that's not all new construction. I think it's best to really look at the appliances potentially that were installed in the home, and ask the seller if there are any transferable warranties, because what we found is with some sellers, they may buy those items at bulk, and where they look new and maybe set in a warehouse and had a 1-year manufacturer warranty, they could potentially be 3, 4, 5 years old, and that 1-year manufacturer warranty is now expired. So these are little things that a new home buyer may not think to ask about. So that's why I always recommend, find out the age of those appliances, and we can even look that up for the customer. If they can get us a serial or make a model number, we can assist them with that as well. But it's good to have that, because that manufacturer's warranty may still be maybe expired. But also just the added benefits that they're going to get, even though it's a new home. Again, those member benefits really come in long term for them. Even if nothing breaks in their home, they're going to get value from that.
So I'm sure you've been around the industry long enough, and having that real estate background and being in insurance, and now having this company. Tell us about a horror story that you've heard where somebody could have easily chosen to have the coverage like you offer, and yet chose to save a few dollars or forgot about it.
Oh, wow. Let me think of one. Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I think really, hmm, we did have a customer, now that I think about it, and this was probably back around April. The customer was looking at getting a warranty and had maybe thought about asking the seller for it, but then really looked up some. And again, I actually took this call because the realtor was trying to talk the customer into it, and they looked up some things online with just the national, just kind of the reviews and whatnot, and they're like, I don't think I'm going to go with one of those warranties. And I told them, hey, go look at our reviews, check out, we work different. And that customer chose not to get the warranty, and I actually ran into that realtor a few months later, and they told me that customer did not get the warranty, and come to find out they had a cracked heat exchanger.
Ooh.
And that's something that a lot of the home inspectors, where they try to really get in there and check the heat exchanger, it's very hard, because they're not actually doing a thorough HVAC inspection. So that's another way where the warranty can really help, is that we're going to cover that heat exchanger if something like that comes up, because the home inspection is not always going to catch that item. But the realtor did tell me, I think it ends up costing them all in all about $3,200 for everything to get it fixed.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people think that because they hire the home inspector, they're going to catch everything, and a general home inspector is not. I encourage a lot of the agents that I coach, if they're really concerned about some of the things, like if it's HVAC, have the HVAC people come out. If it's plumbing, have a plumber come out and look at it. Because they miss those things. And if they don't have the warranty, a situation like that will happen. And that, a heat exchange system would can cost thousands of dollars. And if you have to retrofit everything, you might have to change out more than just the heat exchanger. So
Yeah, one thing we always promote is especially is where they can't check the AC unit during the cold months of the year. We always recommend getting a pressure check because a lot of the HVAC companies will say, "Well, we couldn't turn it on," or the home inspector will say, "Well, I couldn't turn it on because of the outside temperatures," but you can still do a pressure check even in the winter months to check the compression on the system. So we would definitely recommend that. I say that's all realtors, regardless if you're getting a warranty or not. Make sure you get that pressure system checked on the system as a whole, and that's really going to tell you if it has any leaks or anything like that.
yeah, because people can always fill it with Freon. That's what I've found, because we don't have to worry about that down here as far as the winter. Winter in Houston's like could be 80, 90 degrees. So but there's that pressure check catches when those individuals or the sellers will fill it with Freon right before they decide to sell. So that's great information right there, no matter
Absolutely.
whether you're in a cold climate or not. So good.
Absolutely.
So tell me more about Home Membership. Tell me about your company. How do people connect with you? How can people learn more? If there's people on here today that are, maybe in a position where they'd like to purchase a membership, how do they connect with you, Troy?
Sure. I mean, the best thing for our home membership is to visit our website. It's where you're going to get the most info as far as, the coverages and what is covered. That's at homemembership.com. As far as just general content and things about home membership or even maintenance and tips for your home or for your clients, maybe they're just looking at purchasing a home. Maybe they just purchased a home and want to learn more about maintaining. They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, simply just search Home Membership. And on most of those platforms, our tag or our handle is at Home Membership. So we're really easy to find there. And that's really the best way to find us. And then one thing I always recommend too is really just Google us. And if you Google us, you will see that we have a BBB page, an actual Google review page, and as well as a bird eye page. And why I bring that up is because a lot of national companies may, turn reviews off. And I'm very big on reviews with Home Membership, and we're very out in the forefront with our reviews, and BBB and Google are the best to me because we don't go through any kind of third-party review sites. I mean, we're right there in front with BBB and Google. And anytime you're buying a service contract, which is really what a warranty is, those reviews are really going to tell you a lot about a company. And I will tell people, hey, if you're looking at us versus another company, go look and see if they have a BBB or Google page. And that's going to tell you a lot about the company.
That's great. Yeah, I highly recommend reviews. I get reviews all the time, and typically they're pretty good. Every once in a while, I'll get a 1-star or 2-star, and to me, that's great. Because it gives me the opportunity to go in and validate maybe how they felt about the situation, but they're credible, they're true, they're transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are, some of these bigger companies that gives you a competitive advantage as a small business owner, is that transparency. Because I think people are looking for that, especially in our world today. I think that's highly, highly appreciated. So awesome. So people can connect with you at homemembership.com.
Yes, that is correct.
Troy, before we wrap up, one piece of advice, it could be about business or it could be about life, maybe something you've learned along the way in the journey that you could impart on our audience today. What would that one piece of advice be?
For us, for me is really just do your homework in a sense for anyone that you're going to do business with. Because for me, over the years, I've worked with a lot of people, everything from marketing to realtors to insurance to software developers. And I've wasted a lot of time when really I could have not wasted that time if I would have just slowed down and asked the right questions up front. And I have some rules kind of that I follow for myself, before I do business with someone, I always try to get at least two references of someone that's actively using that business or service. And then I try to get them to show me their business or service in action. So whether, if that's possible, I understand that's not always possible. And I think that served me well, because if you don't do those things, you're going to end up kicking yourself down the road. And if you really feel like you've done your homework and you've researched and really went, behind the scenes to find out if that company really is who they say they are, you're gonna get rewarded tenfold. So I think that's the most important thing that you can do with anybody that you do business with, or any product or service that you look at using in the future.
That's amazing advice. Thank you, Troy, for sharing that. I can't tell you how many times I'll have one of my clients cry on my shoulder saying they had made a decision to purchase this widget, this shiny thing over here, because they were told it was going to change their world, and it didn't. Is to slow down and take that time and to do the research. That's great advice to end on today. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's one reason with us too, with our coverage chart, when you were talking about transparency, we took all those, when you were talking about bad reviews, we really looked at all the problems and the holes in the industry and the warranty space. And we really started to build out our coverage chart to provide that transparent amount as far as what they get for the part and what they get for the labor. And our members and our realtors love it, because before, where realtors may put a warranty in front of someone and say HVAC, appliances, electrical, and plumbing's covered, but then there's 8 pages of exclusions that no one reads. With our coverage chart, it says specifically right there, here's what you get for the part, here's what you get for the labor, and our clients love it. And then when I present it in front of realtors, I feel better. I feel better about it, that I can say, look, I'm not saying we're going to cover 100% of everything, but what I am saying is if your client submits an invoice for that amount, for that part that's broken, they're going to get paid that amount. And that makes me feel good. And the realtors love it too, because now, where before maybe they were hesitant, potentially, it's just right there. Everything's laid out very transparent and upfront for the customer. And that served us very well with our members.
Yeah, you hear that the word transparency tossed around a lot today in the small business world, and it sounds like y'all are doing it. It is, I think, an important thing that needs to be focused on within the small business realm, because I think there's so much distrust out there. There's so much noise they're having to cut through to find great people like you. That transparency creates that place of trust, and only once you earn somebody's trust are you able to do business with them. I still believe that to be the case. So great work on that. And Troy, thank you for being on the show today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. So again, Troy Cummings, he's the founder of Home Membership. And to learn more about his business and the services he provides, all my real estate agents that I know listen to the show, check him out at homemembership.com. Thank you again, Troy. And until next time, onward and upward.
Thank you.